Because I know I went and played Stepmania while it crashed, and I don't remember anything.
Yeah, what is that popping?
What is that popping noise? This is the shit that happens. I don't understand this shit. It's like my fucking 2-month curse. Every few months, it's just like, I'm gonna break! And then shit goes to hell for no reason.
Don't smoke you.
Just buy all cheap equipment, like $10, $15 mics, and then when they break, you're like, oh, that's expected. And then you go get a new one.
Popping noise.
It's better than buying the $100 one and it breaking in the same amount of time.
Well, we have 3 extra mics. That's not really the problem. The problem is figuring out where the noise is coming from.
This isn't the first time we had this problem.
And it will not be the last. Turn
No.
on the stream!
It is on.
It's on.
Oh. Hi!
I feel like we were switched.
You were stretched at birth. This is weird because I was used to like, oh, well, it's like a whole new show.
The only thing I can think of is that it's the local recording. At some point, making something freak out.
Ah, like a hard drive.
That's
Did you
the only
run
thing I
over
can think of.
space?
Do what?
No.
Did you run over space?
Yes. Did you
Well,
run
if they
over
ran
space?
over space, then they would. If they started the local recording again, it would like immediately crash.
I have 500 gigs
Stop.
left. And what the hell is that crackling noise?
Clink.
Is Wagner Warrior still here?
Yeah. He's here.
Wagner?
I'm here.
We said,
Yeah.
we said the computer was inside. Maybe someone just trolled you and cycled the power.
Children.
No, they did not.
Children are trolls.
They already got yelled at
Children.
for what they did in the first place.
Bad
It
children.
sounds like somebody's turning on and off their mic, is what it sounds like.
Click, click. Click,
Yeah.
click.
Anyway,
Anyway.
Is it coming from any one of us?
Yes, all of you. And
Well-
the chat. I blame you. No, not really. We love you.
no.
So,
Anyway,
what were we talking about?
something
I
to
played
do.
Stepmania, so I literally don't remember at all.
Wow,
It was
you've
his third
done like
session. It was Neith balance changes.
Yeah.
Neith
With-
balance
his
changes. Look at this
Her
guy.
ultimate.
I
Ultimate
think
Neith.
we decided that like a slower ultimate would be
All right.
kind of nice.
Super Bowl all over again. You know what?
Root
That
and
makes me.
cleanse.
What?
Oh, that's what it was. Yep.
What?
The
Well-
fact
Yeah,
that
we're
that
talking
when
about her
there's
root
a-
and stuff.
Yeah, roots technically don't count as CC, so like you can't beads them.
Yeah.
And it was
It's-
never really a problem because Artemis Chap wasn't that big of a deal and she wasn't played that much.
Yeah.
But now with Neith, roots have been exposed as the confusing CC that makes no sense.
Yeah. Because you're like, all right, I'll get out of her 2-second route. No, you're just gonna stand there and you're gonna eat a few hits.
I think it's because you still technically have control of your character. You can still cast things, and
You can still run, dash, jump. You can't walk away, but you know whatever.
Well, I think it's like I don't think it actually inhibits the input for the movement. It just doesn't.
it just
actually
moves you to
move.
0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's still. I think it still thinks that you can move. It's just not going anywhere.
Yes.
So since there's no technical, it's not stopping you from doing anything technically. That it doesn't have anything to remove.
Yep.
Maybe it's just the way that how they implement the CC.
Yeah, some CCs are weird in how they interact. I know, like, Kali, like, if you're Kali ulting and Bacchus ults you, then you're fine. But if you're ulting and then Bacchus, or if you haven't ulted yet, Bacchus ults you and you ult to cleanse the drunkenness, you're still drunk and spinning. And you're still CC.
Just waddling all around the lane, spinning around.
Same thing with, like, Vimana. Like, you can be a drunk giant baby
Nice.
if you ult afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of like individual cases that they have to work on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, they either need to make it really clear that it doesn't affect it so people don't waste it and find out the hard way, or they need to just classify roots as CC. And I think if they add more root-based gods, they probably just add it as a CC.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the problem is we have so few gods that these problems are in such a small subset of cases that it's not like, oh my god, that's a problem. It's like, hey, that sucks.
Now
Yeah.
it's a problem.
That's a problem.
AD carry with ranged root, and that sucks.
Now Neith is causing all kinds of trouble
Ranged root that goes through all the other targets to hit you and keeps going.
with a double hit.
Yeah, with a double hit. So, yeah, it's pretty harsh.
I don't think it actually
Pretty
moves you to 0, because I think then technically Sprint would break it, because Sprint would remove a slow. I wonder how
Unless it
that's actually
doesn't
coded
slow
on
you
their
and
end.
just
Yeah.
changes your.
That's what I'm wondering, because it's obviously got to be, not like a sound choice in the implementation. It's got to be like, this works, but in certain cases it can be abused by the interaction with other effects.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nest
So are
2
we
is.
on our last question now?
Yeah, what do you got?
See, I play support, and as playing a tank, every single time your first item is Mark of the Vanguard, and I personally believe that's why the tank meta is so strong right now, because anyone who gets Mark of the Vanguard is immediately extremely tanky. So what are your thoughts on that?
What do you got for us? Pom Pom.
Do you want to go first, Drybear? Or because I've been talking first each time.
Yeah, Dry Bear.
I mean, it is, and it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a great item, and I mean, even like recently, it's now being picked up on mages because it's so freaking good. I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah.
does serve as a corner point. It's not really, I mean, the main reason. It just doesn't help the situation. I mean, again, it's like the mid game and the team fight phase where it doesn't really fit the general team fights of other MOBAs where you have to set yourself up right, and if you're playing in the back of the carry, you can get peeled up for your supports. I mean, I think it's the overall items in general, but Mark of the Vanguard doesn't help.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I had an interesting discussion with K-pop Fury, Caps Lock Fury, where I was like, Mark is OP, and he's like, I don't think Mark is OP. I think the bigger problem is the other starting items are not nearly as effective. And thinking about it more, the main reason why Mark works so well is it's really effective at its role as a starting item, and tank items are cheap enough that you can get away with buying it. The big problem with like 80 carries and mages is if you're delaying an item, you better have a good reason for it. And right now, I don't think there's a good starting item that justifies delaying important items like Void Blades and Void Stones on carries. And I think I'd rather actually see the other starting items buffed or changed to compete with Mark than Mark being nerfed. And I would also like Mark to not punish channel spells like Guan's 3 or Ares fire thing. What's the name of the Ares fire thing? Do you know,
Path
Drybear?
of Flames. Path of Flames
Path
or
of Flames?
Combustion is passive.
Of course, naturally.
That's Agni.
That's Agni, not Ares.
Yeah.
Ares.
Ares is what? The
Fire
change?
I think isn't
Fire
it Raging
shield.
Fires?
It's Searing Flesh?
Searing.
Searing Flesh. That's what it is. Where's
Yeah.
Raging Fires?
It gets penalized way more, and that just feels bad to fight against in the early laning phase. I think if you change that so it didn't really affect channels and you buff the other starting items, Mark isn't that big of a deal. The biggest problem is just it's worth delaying like your first tank item, like it's worth delaying your mystical mark to buy it, whereas on other carries it's not worth delaying to get a death toll.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for your call, Wagner Warrior.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Who is our next caller? Let's
hell is
pick
that?
it up from wherever I can find these people. Ah, here's a good one. Dang it. All right, let's
Who
call this
wants to
person.
talk to Pon Pon?
Dynasty Star wants to talk to Pon Pon.
Hello?
Dynasty Star, you are online with Pon Pon. You had a question for Pon Pon.
Hey, I just wanted to, my question for you was, I've been on the forums a lot recently, and there has been discussion about the facts that bans have been removed and they weren't listed on the thing, on the patch notes. Do you feel that all bans belong in normal conquest because people say that it is good for balance? People say it isn't good for balance. People all want to avoid a certain god. People want to play a certain god. Do you think that? How do you think that they should go about making everybody happy?
I think Drybear also has. I know he talked about this when it first came out, and I think the reason wasn't on the patch notes because it was on the previous patch notes, but it wasn't implemented, and so they just implemented it this patch. I think if there were enough players, there should be a draft queue. I think there's significant interest for draft queue. Draft queues are really, really beneficial, but splitting up the normal queue population into 2 modes is going to do nothing for balancing matchmaking, It's just going to make it harder to find suitable matches. When the game gets more popular, if it gets more popular, which I hope it does, I know League actually implemented it, and it's really effective. But currently, if you're really serious about wanting to ban out certain gods, you're really serious about playing a certain type of god, ranked is probably your best bet. And it's a shame that it takes so long to get to level 30. But I think it's okay that normals don't have bans right now.
The only thing, I mean, I personally don't think they belong in normal. Like like Palmon said, it should be separated. It should be segregated in some fashion so that the people that do want it can get it. And the only argument that I've ever heard for having bans in normal is that it prepares you for ranked, and I think it is a poor substitute for preparing you for ranked. Just because you can ban out gods doesn't mean that you're prepared for ranked in any fashion.
Yeah.
And especially just because trying to get rid of a god you don't like doesn't really make you a better player. I mean, there's no way you can always prevent yourself from facing up against that god. Like people will say, I don't want to play Neith ever, so I don't play against Neith. But the thing is, like, in a dynamic competitive scene, there's always going to be more than one god that's a good ban. So, if you ban, you ban Sobek because you don't like him, there's still a mirror. There's other gods that are just as strong or fit similar roles that you can deal with that. So, I mean, closing your eyes to a god that's strong isn't going to make you a better player. And that's really the only argument I've ever heard for having bans in normals, is that it prepares you for ranked, and I don't think it does at all.
I think I agree with you, especially because I believe it was only bans. It wasn't really a draft queue.
Right.
Right.
I think if it was a draft queue, you could make that argument pretty compellingly, because picks and bans are a huge part of the game, and understanding how picks and bans works is really important. But if it's just bans, it's not. I don't think it's that important for normals. And if people wanted it, there would be another queue for it. And once I think there's enough people in the game, I think there'll be significant interest for it. But as of now, I think normals don't need it, because ranked exists. If you want bans, if you want more competitive, serious play, ranked is where you want to go.
Yeah, there are ranked games that are won and lost in the picking stages, and this is common in like all the MOBAs across the board. Draft mode is so important to the whole game that you're about to play for the next half hour to an hour. So really preparing yourself for ranked is not the banning, because they're always, especially as the gods list grows, and if we get to like 80 gods, there's never going to be a point where, I banned this one god, we're safe. With a dynamic competitive scene, they're going to pick something else that's just as good or good in different situations. You're going to change their lineup maybe, but it's not going to mean, okay, we're okay. The ban isn't really the important part. Certainly it does affect things, and obviously if we get a bigger god list, there's going to be more than one ban. They can only have one ban right now because we only have 30 gods. But the only argument I've ever heard is the fact that it prepares you. And really, what you need to be prepared for is, number one, playing all the roles. To get into rank, you need to be able to play almost every single. There are players that can play every role but one, which is okay. That you can work around that. But in general, being able to play more than one role, and also being prepared for draft mode and how that affects the development of the game, is really what normal should. If there's going to be a segregated normals for preparing you for competitive play, those are the two things you should focus on, not the banning.
Yeah. The only thing I would miss is if they had like a release Guan Yu again. That would be the only thing I would miss bans. Release Guan Yu to anyone who wasn't around. To anyone who wasn't around at release Guan Yu, it was literally if you did not have a Guan Yu on the team, you lost. Guan Yu literally did about 3 to 4 times as much damage as he does now.
Yeah, it was
ridiculous.
bad. He was their first or second god they released after.
I think he's the first one they released.
First one they released after the beta, and oh my god,
after this,
it was
like
a problem.
An 86% win rate or something.
Yeah,
if you had him.
But they've gotten a lot better at not doing that, and so that would be the only other argument I could see for bans, is to ban out super OP gods. And right now, there's no god that's so OP that it breaks the game.
Well, I think the biggest thing too is, since they're releasing new gods so frequently, since they're allowing the new gods to be banned, it's very hard to realize what the god needs to be adjusted, if it's good or if it's bad or anything like that. And they're saying, it's new and I don't like it. The way physiologically works and how you psychologically think about the game, when you face something you're not used to, you're going to hate it right away. no matter what, you're going to see, oh, Neith is overpowered immediately. You're not going to think about it objectively. You're not going to think, what are the downsides? What can we capitalize on? What can we punish her for? It's like, I hate this character. Ban, 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 ban. So that doesn't really help the development of new characters. I think if they're going to do, at least banning in normals, they should do a grace period where the new gods can't be banned for, multiple reasons. Number one, there's incentive, at least for high res, for people to spend money on the god or spend favor on the god.
Yep.
And number two, for balance. I mean, if the god doesn't get played, or it gets played not very often, because if one person in the lobby bans it, then neither teams can play it. So it's just one of those things where if Neith gets banned, or Vulcan or Hercules, I mean, even the last 3 gods, all 3 of them have been constantly banned because people don't like them, and that skews the numbers and delays the balance changes because they don't know what to do because no one gets to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that is one of the things I thought was interesting that the new guys are banned for so long. I'm like, well, how do you know how people are going to play them once they figure out how to play?
When nobody can play
for
them,
and against, when no one can play them in a competitive level. So,
yeah. Now here's an interesting drafting bug. Has anybody noticed the bug in the blind pick regular conquest mode where you can see what the other team pick after they grab it?
Yeah.
yes, you just mouse over their
Just
name.
mouse over their name and it'll show you what god they have.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Or at least 4 out of 5 most of the time.
Well,
Yeah.
if they selected the god, it'll be there.
If
they haven't,
they've clicked on any god, it'll show you whatever god they've clicked on.
and so you can look at what they've all locked in by the time they're done. So like we were sitting there one time, we were like, oh look, they have a Zeus Odin combo. Better get something to complement that. We need people with escapes.
Have you ever seen the video of Day 9 Mind Games?
No.
If you haven't seen it, you know anything about StarCraft, watch it.
Yeah.
Because you could do the whole mind game of I'm playing Anubis Ao Kuang. Like you just like run 5 super squishy like characters, and then all of a sudden you switch at the end and lock in like super hardcore tank lineup. But like just go watch Mind Games. Like go look it up. It's great if you haven't seen it.
And
one thing I remember from Day 9 that just makes me laugh forever and ever is, there's a quarter, and if you have a quarter, then that's damn it, how did it go? It's micro. That's it. If I have a quarter in this hand and then it's in this hand, that's micro. And he was talking about roaches going up and down, and he was like ultra tired that day or something, and so he just started laughing for like 3 minutes and couldn't stop.
Yeah.
That woman just, if I'm ever having a bad day, I
guy.
can just watch that and it'll just make me start cracking up.
yeah, I will say something because we talked about Zeus, and this reminded me. If you're Zeus and you're ever playing against
Anyone?
I've played through a guy who throws down the
Loki?
no
Throws down the
Loki would work, or the guy with the turrets.
Vulcan.
Yes, I've
It
had too
bounces
much to
between.
drink. Yeah.
Mhm.
Always remember, you can just throw your bounce right on his turrets or right at Loki's guy, and it will just bounce right around, and it is absolutely hilarious to watch as they're like, you can
died
see like that
many
look of
times with that.
shock, like oh my god, what's going on, and then they die, and it's really funny. So you
Especially if
guys,
you have just one and it's just you and your turn. It's like bounce, 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 dead.
yep, it's so funny. And then they can't get away fast enough. Once they realize it, they're like, no, then they die.
So were you saying that Zeus is a good counter to Vulcan in general? It just makes him get away from his turrets.
Well,
That's actually probably not terribly far off.
Yeah.
You're probably the best qualified to kill his turrets.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, it's just one. You just
You take one
He
hit from
lays
the
down
turret.
this combo to fight in, and you can just like I'm ulting where you're trying to fight. Have fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a good counter, and because once you get that first bounce, they will travel, man. They will travel. Especially you see this in arena a lot, where there's like you and then the turrets and then him, and you just throw it on the turrets, and it'll just bounce all the way back to their base. It's so funny.
Nice. So was that all your questions, Mr. Dynasty? Is that what it says?
Yes,
I can read from this.
it could be Dynasty Star, so it could be.
Oh, I
Dynasty's
have one
Dynasty.
more. Oh,
What do you got? What's your question?
about them not all having all the fact that bans are removed in normal Conquest.
What?
I think he's trying to
Oh,
remember.
what?
Yeah.
Oh, and the fact that there's the butcher skin for Bakasura and all. Oh, Do you feel that that was part of miscommunication on Hi-Res's part in the patch notes, or why was it not put in?
Oh.
I don't know. Bart's
I
in the
know
lobby.
they've actually had problems in the past with leaking skins early. I know the Freya skin was not supposed to be on the PTS.
Nice.
And the Freya skin was on the PTS. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if someone just didn't remove it from the dev client when they brought it over. I would not be terribly surprised.
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
I don't know, this
I
was
don't
a
think we'll ever
patch.
know, but
It's one of those things
I
of
think all the focus changes is like
Yeah.
this huge project. So they're probably just so engrossed in that they didn't even realize.
I mean, you got to keep in mind
It's
that
really easy.
they're a small company and they're taking on all this huge stuff right now. They're doing all these significant changes, et cetera, and they just have a relatively small team compared to what they're doing, and so they're all getting stretched very thin.
yeah, and as long as it's something small like that and not like a big if anyone remembers, like 2 months ago when they decided that they were randomly going to make the gold per tick 4,
Yes.
and they didn't even put it in the patch notes, you're like,
Yes.
why didn't you say
Why?
this?
So
Yeah,
rich.
everyone started playing. They're like,
Holy
something's
crap.
different.
Like, I didn't even notice it, and I was like 10 minutes in, and I'm like, wait, I can buy a Deathbringer. I haven't gotten a kill yet. What's going on?
Yes, it was really amusing.
As long as it's skins, I don't mind the missing notes. I mean, it's hard to necessarily keep track of everything going into a patch, because I bet their dev client has the current patch that's going to be deployed, plus a ton of other features that are in the works.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes hard to know what's going to actually make it into the patch release versus what's staying on the client.
Yeah, and then it just
Finally.
takes that one person to be like, "Yeah, put that in this patch too." Okay, but yeah, you're not the
just
one that
got-
made the patch notes.
I got confirmation that Baka wasn't a mistake. It was just a color change.
Oh.
I think the bigger point was it just wasn't on the patch notes.
Okay.
Wait, so
Yeah.
who did you get confirmation from on your phone in Europe?
In Europe,
I'm not in Europe.
I
in
know.
Arizona.
Whatever.
It's still a foreign country.
Details.
Hold on, let me. Oh yeah, he totally is in the chat. He's on his secret name. And Zap also just messaged me.
Nice.
There we go.
Your text noise makes it
I'm
that
not
much more
going to
mystical.
reveal my sources. But apparently, someone from Hi-Res is watching that has my phone number, and they texted me. It was not a mistake. So there we go.
Nice.
All right. Well,
Well,
you've
hello,
heard
secret high-res watcher.
You've heard it straight from the
Ponpon's
source
phone.
of the guy who says he's in the chat, and Pompon says he knows that he's actually there. So it was all meant to be.
It's from that dark figure in the corner that
Yes.
says this is what's going on.
So
It's not Bart, but someone said it was Bart. It's not Bart.
It's not the man behind the curtain. It's probably Erez.
Yeah. Iris has your number.
He does.
I don't have yours number.
That doesn't mean he
Call.
doesn't have yours. Oh ho!
He actually probably does have mine. Thinking about it.
Probably.
At least you could get it.
So thank you, Dynasty. Was that all of your questions now?
Yes. All right.
I'll take that as a yes.
Thank you
Yeah,
for calling.
Sorry about stuttering though.
Uh,
Oh, no, you're good.
That's good.
Have a good night.
Thank you for calling.
All right.
Who else wanted to join?
I think that about draws it up for us. It is
Yeah.
11 o'clock. We have done our show for tonight. So
Yes, we have done 2 hours of a show that
We
I will have to
are-
go back and recover.
Yes, we had a great VOD,
Godspeed.
and then the fates ruined it. So
I swear.
we have our end of our show thing, and we're going to do shout-outs because I know everybody loves them except for our guest last week.
Yeah, Richard does not like
And
shoutouts, but I don't
So,
care.
Pompon,
It's my show, our show.
you are up. Tell us all about you
Shout out.
and Curse and
Where we can
your
find
favorite food, where we can
Um,
find you during the day, that kind of
you,
stuff.
and at night. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
do you sleep at night? I mean, we could find you in your bed.
that's
I
a bit
have
creepy.
really weird sleep schedules. Sometimes I'll sleep in the day. Sometimes I'll sleep at night. It's weird.
That-
But
he sleeps. during the
I'll
day.
go with me first. It's if you want to follow me, I have a Twitter at PonPonSmite.
At
I'll type
Pompon.
these out. And then my Twitch TV is twitch.tv/PonPonWayWayWay.
Not way, but way.
Yeah, not way.
Not
It's
not
way,
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 way.
but way, and not way spelled WAY. It's WEI. And
Yes,
a
these
big
are
shout
all
out to
different
everyone
people.
on Curse right now. The new Curse team, which is Sparks Ross, who also has a Twitch. Zap, who has a Twitch, Zap55. The Best and Shadow Q. All of them are awesome.
Yes.
K-Pop Fury.
K-pop,
K-Pop Fury, who's Pon Hui in the chat.
Yes.
Sanctums, I'll give Sanctums a shout out too. And also, if you want to watch me on the Hi-Res channel, I'm on at 10 to 12 Eastern. I just stream for 2 hours on the Smite Games channel.
Is that in the
And
morning?
also a big shout out
Yeah.
to Dry Bear for casting and being an awesome caster. And a big shout out to all of BLG for running the show, which is I think it's a really nice show overall.
Thank you.
Pretty good.
We like it. We like doing
We
it.
try.
We like doing it.
It's a
like to
good
make
show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right,
Good
Dry
ending.
Bear. You're up next.
Yes. Yes.
Well, if you want to find me, it's pretty much everything is just Dry Bear Gamers. So that's in chat right now. Or my Twitch is just twitch.tv Dry Bear. I don't stream anywhere else because I'm a little boy. But yeah, big shout out to BLG especially for doing all the little things in the community that aren't really, I don't think, get enough credit. Especially the BLG Casual Competitive Tournament, all the patch notes and all the work they do behind the scenes in the forums, and then obviously this show as well, which will grow as Smite does grow. So big shout out for all the work that they do, and shout out for all the competitive players, especially players like Pon Pon that we have here, who not only play competitively but also do the mathematics and the theory crafting for us on his spare time. It's a lot of work goes into it. I mean, if you guys are just playing Smite and not realizing how much work gets done by separate people, thankless work really. So just big shout out to all the people in the Smite community, especially the ones that are here now, doing a great job, and to Hi-Rez as well for not only making Smite but also responding to our feedback, and also having the courage to try out things like Focus, and then realizing that it may have been having the courage to try it, and then the modesty to take it back.
Yes.
Yep.
That is always a good sign whenever a company's like, yeah, we tried this and it sucked, so we're just kind of like, bye.
It's not like we're doing this and this is the way it's going to be. You have to deal with it. It's no, you guys are right. It does kind of suck, so we're getting rid of it.
Yeah.
So props to them. Major props to them on that. I like that ability. Thank God.
And so before we go, we're going to reiterate our tournaments this weekend. So Dry Bear, which ones are you going to be casting?
I believe just the BLG Casual Competitive Tournament Sunday. Are we doing it at noon now? Because it says that on the Twitch.
Does it still say it on?
It's 11.
Okay, so yeah, it's forever. It has been at 11, and Pon Pon's the one that's streaming that morning, and it's like on the Twitch chat image is the only place that it says it starts at noon, and that's the one place where everybody will complain. It's like on the Hi-Rez site where it says the tournament. You didn't give us any problems. I mean, Pon Pon's just
Pon Pon's
awesomely
great.
gracious. He's like, oh, I'll get off now, and so I mean,
my stream, they told me like go 10 to 12, and so I'm on at 10 to 12. It's like, nope, we have something at 11. I'm like, okay.
yeah, and it's just like
Gavin.
it's the only place.
Talk,
the
yeah.
whole reason we made it at 11 was to try and give the Euro guys a little more, because it's Sunday, and it's not. If it was Saturday, noon would be fine. But since it's Sunday, I want to make sure that if they do run late, or if it's the games are really long or something, that the Euro guys aren't staying up till like 2 or 3 in the morning just to play a randomly competitive or casual tournament. So that's why we started a little earlier. So thank you, Pon Pon, for being a gracious host on Sundays.
Yes.
And letting us steal the stream early. But they need to fix that picture. So it's the only place it says that. Other than that, yeah, we have that. And the My Revenge tournament will be on Saturday starting at noon Eastern, or whatever CET that is, like 5 p.m. CET, I think. Because I think it's 5 hours ahead of Eastern.
Yeah.
And we shall have some greatness from that. Ooh, I do have a little thing I want to show people. This is what, hopefully, whoever's going to be casting the tournaments, I'll be running support, and they can have this lovely little gem that I made this afternoon, which is, it's
Well, I saw you working on this.
Root versus
Bum, bum,
BLG,
bum.
or whoever versus whoever. I can change the logos out as necessary, and people can they can run it right before the game starts and have like, ooh, it's awesome. So yeah, wrong one. That's what I did this afternoon, and so I hope you guys liked that. It was just a little, just adding a little bit of flair to the tournaments, hopefully. So we'll definitely be using it Sunday if you want to see it in action.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. So thank you very much for watching. I've had a blast. Thank you, too, for joining us so very much. I mean,
Can I do one more shout out? 'Cause
Yeah.
I forgot one.
as long as it's not for Young Bay City.
It's not Young Bay City, although now it's Young Bay City.
Oh, that was it. Then you're done.
No. Flare Boot, who he does like polls for my stream, and we went in today and earlier and calculated that Minotaur has like 61 to 63 armor and has like 5,500 health when there's nothing up.
Huh.
And so he does a lot of the stuff on the back, and he'll sit there and we'll do joust and we'll work out stuff. So he's a really cool guy, and I want to give him a shout out too.
Very nice. Now, here's a quick question. Do you know what the how much armor or whatever it is each Phoenix gives the Minotaur when they're up versus down?
No, it's
Okay.
we need 10 people to work that out because we need to actually be able to have Phoenixes and turrets up. In Joust, if you can't attack the Minotaur until Phoenix is down
Yeah.
because he's immune.
Mobilize. Chat.
So
All you people out there, we need you.
Mobilize.
I
Mobilize.
think
Slightly invasive
technically we could pull him right as the Phoenix respawns and then get some information, but it's too much work.
Yeah.
It'd be better if we just had 10 people.
We could just ask Hi-Rez for that information.
I've been asking, and they have not. Apparently, that's Travis's department, and Travis is generally busy, and that's understandable.
Yeah, I mean,
To not take his time out of the day, he's working on game stuff and answer a question about what's Minotaur get. It'd be good to know, but we've tried asking for a while.
okay.
We haven't gotten anything.
Well, that's another shout out right there. Shout out to all the high res people, especially Dry Res Bart, who's in chat right now.
Dry
Dry
res.
res.
Seems to be
Bart.
everywhere at once, working so hard. So
Yeah.
Yeah, Hi-Res is an awesome group of people, and I've gotten to talk to some of the Hi-Res people, and they're all awesome.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
they
are.
are.
Yes, they are. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I'm Demon Machine. You can find me. I'm going to start streaming on my Twitch channel, which is Demon Machine. My Twitter is Demon Machine. Everything that involves me is Demon Machine. It just like it says down here. And Rebel, you can't find anywhere because he is a mute and a invisible person. He just shows up for the show.
Absolutely. And we also do work on this nice community website. You may have heard of it called bogaming.com. There's this neat spinning logo. I think is right down there.
Yes.
And
Right there.
so, yeah. Check
Thanks,
us out,
Rob.
bogaming.com. We have news. We have other stuff. We have broken, out-of-date guides.
Yep.
Which
We're working on those. It's just our web
Thank you,
developer.
Hi-Res, for that. They're like, we're going to change the game
Yeah.
5 times in a month. We're like,
Yeah.
so.
That's kind of where it would stop.
Yeah.
Because
And but yeah, we have great forums. We have a lot of active use. So if you want another spectated opinion, wow, good job. So bogaming.com. That's pretty much it. Yeah,
yep.
Have a good
wraps
night.
it up for us.
Enjoy.
Thank you guys for joining us.
we are out. Bon voyage.
Bon voyage. Well, I guess there's nothing really to stop at this moment, but.